I'm a grandmother. This is my grandson, Angel.
Aww.
He was taken at a month and a half old from Natividad Hospital, Monterey County, Salinas, California. My daughter's a heroin addict. She's an adult. I have no power over her.
But Grandma has rights.
She ended up getting pregnant. I begged her to go to rehab, and I begged her to go to an OBGYN. I am not a heroin addict. I don't know how strong that is, but I know what's right for the best interest of a child. So I begged her to go get help. She did start going to the doctor, but she did not go to rehab. And I knew that my unborn grandson was going to be damaged, and I was concerned for his well-being as well as my daughter's well-being. So I called Monterey County CPS because that's who I thought would help protect my grandson. I called them. I called the hotline. This is before I knew anything. And I said, I need help. And the woman said, ma'am, what can we help you with? I said, I need you to arrest my daughter. Well, please tell us what happened. I said, my daughter's carrying my grandson. He's not born yet. And I'm concerned he's going to be born addicted. I want her arrested or court-ordered to a drug rehab. She said to me, ma'am, we can't help you. There's nothing we can do. I said, why not? It's child endangerment. She said, he's not born yet. There are no rights for the unborn. I said, that's a damn shame. So then I called the local police, and I asked if they would arrest my daughter. They told me the same thing. There was nothing they could do because he was not born. So I'm still working full-time, didn't know what to do. I started reaching out to local reporters. Fortunately, I was able to get a woman by the name of Brooke Holmquist out of Salinas, an investigative reporter with KION News. She was fortunate to help me and get me up to Assemblyman Monning's office. But Assemblyman Monning was too busy to speak with me, so he had his executive assistant speak with me. And I told him the dilemma that I was in. And I had done lengthy research because I am a paralegal by trade. And I started looking into how I could bring a law in that could help me or any other grandparent or family member in a situation that I was in. And they told me quickly it would take 2 to 3 years to legislate anything into the state of California. So I came back and I realized that no one was going to help me. So I started going into the homeless community where my daughter was living in cars and tents in the street. And with a picture of my daughter going up to drug dealers and saying, please do not sell her drugs, she's pregnant. And they ended up turning in to be my friends. And long story short, they were avoiding her. So 9 months later, my grandson Angel is born. And he's born severely addicted. Severely addicted. I'm with him every single day at the hospital because he had to be given morphine to wean off from having his withdrawals. And I would hold him and watch him have seizures and just hold him so tight and rub him out of him and was with him every single day. Every single day. Bonded with my grandson. I worked for the federal government for 12 years. I have no criminal record, not even a speeding ticket. So then the hospital, because they are called mandated reporters, folks, mandated reporters, they had to call CPS. Even though my daughter, the father, all told them, we are going to relinquish our rights to my mother because we know we're not capable. And we knew, because I'm a paralegal, I had the ability to go into the court myself and file for my own permanent guardianship, where I could have still seen my grandson every day and him been in my family. But they thought they knew better. They called CPS. So CPS Monterey County comes in and they do what's called a team decision-making meeting. Again, I knew nothing about how they work. I knew nothing about how they work. Had I knew what I know now, which is what I'm asking for, I want oversight. Just like in a criminal case, every criminal that commits a crime has a Miranda right. I didn't commit the damn crime. I loved my grandson and I protected him. When they did that TDM meeting, I didn't know they were going to throw me to the wolves. Or I would have had an attorney. So what I want done is I want Miranda rights in CPS cases. You have so many people that call the hotline just out of vengeance.
Yes.
There ain't no danger to the child. They either are mad at you or they're mad at someone that you love, and they call them and your kid is snatched away from you and you will have hell to pay to get them back. There are $1 million lawsuits, folks, being settled down in Orange County, California because of the abuse of this system. And nothing's changing. Nancy Schaefer, 20 years ago, a senator was exposing this because they took her grandkids. And 20 years later, it's just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
So, what I'm demanding is I want Miranda rights. I believe that we are all innocent until proven guilty, even in child abuse cases. 80% of these cases, the children should have never been removed from a loving family.
Amen.
More children are abused in the foster care system than they are with any bio family. It's a proven fact.
Yes.
Don't listen to me.
Mine
Do
was.
your own research.
Mine was.
I'm a paralegal. I've done a lot of research. So now my grandson's born addicted. They have the TDM meeting. And my daughter, by this time, by the grace of God, is in an inpatient rehab. And she's doing her best. She has a lot of guilt. She's doing her best. They're supposed to provide services.
Yeah.
Do you know they only ever gave my daughter a psychiatric evaluation? They didn't give her any therapy. 3 weeks! She was in that home, crying for help to try to deal with her guilt. 3 weeks! All they did was a psych evaluation, and then you know what they did out of that? They said that she's crazy.
Yes.
They weren't trying to help her. They were trying to sink her. So then the TDM happens, and I'm sitting in the room with my daughter, and 6 CPS workers and 2 doctors that CPS is working directly with. Not all the doctors I've been dealing with at the hospital.
Yes.
Only the 2 they want to work with.
Yes.
The fix was in, folks. All right, so they start going through their gamut of everything my daughter did wrong, everything she did wrong, everything she did wrong. And I looked over to my right, and I said, that's a lie. Because what they were saying was she was non-compliant.
Yeah.
How could she be non-compliant? She was in placement, getting help. But they said she was non-compliant. And I said, I'm sorry, you know, I've never broke the law. I've been a good person in society, and I didn't abuse this child. You're not going to lie about my daughter when she's doing the right thing. So I said, I'm sorry. You need to pull that. That is an untrue statement. You need to pull that. Ma'am, this is a CPS crisis worker. Pat Mannion, Patricia Mannion, by the way, 5 years ago was sued for removing an infant from a home he did not need to be removed from, and he died in that foster home. That's a lawsuit too. Allen versus Monterey County. That very same social worker was allowed to keep her job even though she was sued in her capacity, and ruined my life by taking my grandson on a lie. She shouldn't have had her job. That's what else we're calling for. We've already seen in a federal rights to lie case, Robert Powell, they have no immunity anymore, folks. Every social worker needs to be sued that lies to a judge under oath. They need to be sued, and they need to lose their job. Just like the 4 down in LA County in Baby Gabriel's case, where they found him when there was real abuse, and he died. So, my grandson, the lady tells me, Pat Mannion, if you don't shut up, we're going to make you leave the room. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, you have no right to speak that way to me. This is my grandson, and you have no idea what I've been through because your agency wouldn't help me. Now my grandson's born, addicted, and you're going to tell me to shut up? You think you could speak to me that way? This is not right. So, because I'm level-headed and know when I should quiet down, I backed off because I wanted to hear the doctors talk about my grandson's progress because I couldn't get any of that information unless my daughter was around because of the HIPAA laws. And I wanted to know how bad he was affected by the drugs and what the long-term effects would be. So I quieted down so they wouldn't make me leave that room. So, 15 days later, I'm sent a letter from the Department of Social Services in Monterey County saying they are denying me placement because I'm not level-headed and I threaten them. Lies. I threatened them with a lawsuit. So, then, after that letter, I started thinking to myself, man, something's broken. Something is not right here, and I've got to look into this. There's something evil. There's something evil behind this agency, and I've got to look. Well, I started digging, and that's when I found Nancy Schaefer and what she was doing. And then I found out about the Title IV funding that comes from the Social Security Trust Fund, where I worked for 12 years and knew nothing about it. This is the thing other people need to know. They're using your Social Security Trust money that's going to be for your retirement to steal kids. To steal children that aren't theirs in the first damn place.
There is no such thing as a bank loan.
Our kids are not for sale. Our grandkids are not for sale. And we're coming for you, Contra Costa County. We're coming for you, Santa Clara County. We're coming for you, Sacramento County. We're coming for you, Vallejo. We're coming for you, Monterey County. We're coming for all you judges that are violating your oath of office, abusing your power, and all you social workers. Thank you.